Well, what happened was when the first sort of white man come to New Zealand, there was just millions of acres in New Zealand of natural grassland, just ideal for grazing sheep and cattle, horses, etc. But there was none here. There was no stock. So they would have originally got some stock to Australia and then onto a sailing ship and get a handful. But there was a real shortage. So James MacKenzie, this was the day before any roads or bridges or anything, he could see an opportunity, and with his heading dog, he would sneak into, there were some flocks down Timaru way, they were the early settlers, the English people came and set up there. He would gather up 300 or 400 sheep, drove them 200 miles, there was a real demand for sheep, shortage of sheep, sell them, then he'd come back for the next lot. Well, he wasn't very popular. In those days, sheep stealing was considered worse than murder, so they were determined to catch him. And if you're driving 300 sheep across country, you're pretty easy to track. So they soon caught up with him, and, caught him. He escaped, and then they caught him again and tried him, and he found guilty. And but at the end, he got a full pardon, and he went away to Australia over there, and then lost track of him. But anyway, his legacy is that he's left his name behind, MacKenzie, and I think it's New Zealand's best example of a criminal or outlaw, but over time has become a folk hero. And I think all countries have got them, haven't they? There's Ned Kelly and Robin Hood in America's Canada. But so that's New Zealand. He was sort of stealing from the landed gentry to sell. But
a statue of the person who bore that name, James MacKenzie. I don't want you to miss it because he's an important person. So coming up, we've got James MacKenzie, 450 kilograms of bronze in that, and he's got his dog there. So that's James's dog called Friday. So James MacKenzie, anyway, you remember we went past that great big lagoon area just north of Timaru Port and the wildlife refuge. Well, that's in an area called Washdyke, and it's called Washdyke because the Rhodes brothers who farmed there would dam the creek, and they would wash their sheep in it before they were shorn. They had a great big sheep farming operation. So 1855 anyway, this James MacKenzie, it was alleged, hoed into their sheep population and took about 1,000 of them and came up this way with his dog Friday. He was actually put in jail a couple of times. In the end he was exonerated, but he was notorious, and this district was named for him. We're now in the MacKenzie district, and just back along the road there you might have seen the MacKenzie District Council buildings. And there's a geographic area, the MacKenzie Basin, which is named after him as well. And actually it's a friend of mine who made that statue. His name is Sam Mann. Do you remember the Erebus aircraft crash into Antarctica in 1979? His father was Justice Peter Mann, who was the justice investigating that case, and he actually came up with the line against Air New Zealand, who were doing a bit of a cover-up. The line which has gone down in New Zealand history, an orchestrated litany of lies, was the phrase that, some people remember that. Yeah. Anyway, Peter was the father of Sam, who's the sculptor behind that statue there. And Sam has been an interesting character. His father, as a judge, was able to send him to the Sorbonne, where he learned those great skills that allowed him to make that statue and others. But he's quite the political character, Sam, and he's been a fresh water and general environmental advocate for a very long time. So when all the dairy farming that you've seen a bit of was springing up over the last 20 years, he was busy creating art that protested against that vigorously, including things such as our Minister for the Environment pooping into a glass of water, and a bust of our Minister for the Environment made out of cow poo. So he's been quite the character on our artistic and political landscape. The James MacKenzie statue is a slightly more serious take on what he does.